fell back into heavy tears. Shuhei managed to lift her up with him as he stood, holding her close to him as she cried. He whispered, "It's okay, Ray. Come on. You're going to stay with us tonight." He held her in his arms for several minutes before stepping inside. The next morning, Shuhei's stepfather had gone down to Rei's house and picked up her luggage for the trip to Atamagaokashii Gakuen, and shortly after breakfast, he and Rei had gone down to the pier to wait their vessel. Last night was emotional, and Rei had eaten dinner in his stepsister's room. She had been crying in her sleep, as I, his stepsister, had told him in private before leaving for the docks. The morning sun brought a sparkle to the sea, and Shuhei and Rei looked out at the grand scene, awaiting the boat to arrive and take them to this new life. Rei approached from behind him as he looked out, leaning against the iron railing. "Shuhei?" she asked softly. About last night, Don't worry about it, Rei," he interrupts, never breaking his gaze from the sea. Rei came up behind him and embraced him, pressing her body against his tightly. I shouldn't have doubted you. I knew that you can hold your own against anyone." "Damn straight you shouldn't have doubted me," he said in a gruff macho voice, bringing her to a giggle a bit. "Now can you please let me go? You're making it hard to breathe." They stood there for several minutes in silence, when suddenly a loud foghorn sounded, and almost immediately the boat docked. On her hull was painted in large, bold black letters, SS Titanic, which immediately brought Shuhei to shaking his head and rubbing his eyes. "We're gonna die, aren't we?" he muttered to himself as the baggage claims person began loading their luggage onto the ship. What's that?" Never mind. Let's get on board and find our cabins." On board, the two-sail ship was very well kept, with the deck freshly polished and all the lifeboats looking to be fairly close to all the cabin exits, which brought a chuckle to Shuhei, who saw the irony of it all. Once they had found their rooms and unloaded their carry-on luggage, they made their way to the top deck as the boat was taking off. On the docks, Shuhei could see his mother waving to him as his stepfather stood beside her, smiling proudly. Just down a ways on the dock, Shuhei spotted I, who was standing on the railing, flashing him the moment he waves to her. "You're as shameless as ever, sis," he called out to her. "Don't you go finding a girl at that new school of yours, Shuhei, because you're mine. Bye, Rei. Keep him from shacking up with all the innocent schoolgirls there." Rei laughed. "I'll try." Off they sailed. After lunch, Shuhei went out onto the deck to read and see the view of the ocean. But before getting a chance to open his book, he saw Rei at the bow with her arms raised in the air and the wind sending her hair flying about. He walked up and said, "You know, I'd really like it if we didn't hit an iceberg on this trip, so would you please get down from there?" She glanced back at him, smiled, and got down. "Sorry, I couldn't resist. So what are your plans for the rest of the trip?" "I plan on catching up on some reading. I want to finish this book before we land tomorrow afternoon. You?" "Oh, nothing much. Probably going to stand here and look at the sea until dinner. Then turn in early." "You want to come with me to dinner tonight?" she asked shyly. "Me, lunch isn't sitting too good on my stomach. I don't want to get seasick. Sorry." "Okay, well then, see you around." Hours passed by like nothing, and soon Shuhei found himself very tired and decided to go to bed around dinner time. "Shuhei?" echoed a soft and gentle female voice, bringing him to open his eyes, thinking it was Rei come to bug him in his cabin. But when he stirred, he found himself on an island, a rather strange one at that, surrounded by green waters and beaches of white sand. As he stood, he saw coming towards him several female figures, devoid of any distinguishing features, and colored gray. They gathered around him, whispering his name as they all tried to embrace him. Yet as all these figures began to engulf him, Shuhei saw standing away from the group another female figure, shrouded in a golden light. She stood there, a look of sadness in her face, and Shuhei could almost make it out to be the face of... He began to push through the other gray figures, wanting to see for himself if it was her, if it was indeed Rei's face hidden in the golden light. But just as he broke free of the figures, a sudden thunderclap echoed across the sky, and before him now stood two figures. The first which appeared was shrouded in green mist, and cast a dark shadow of a wolf with flaming eyes. bore a wicked and sinister grin as it seemed to glower at the other figure in white light, who stood as a proud and noble warrior with sword in his hands. Yet this figure bore no true right arm, only having a strange silhouette of one, to show that some force still yet acted as the missing arm. The green figure and white figure charged toward where Shuhei stood. Just before they clashed, though, the golden figure shot forward, taking Shuhei in her arms, and he suddenly felt as though he were falling with her, her long hair dancing in the darkness as they fell silently. Above he saw the green figure become as a wolf, and the white ready his blade for a killing blow. Shuhei shot forward, cold sweat running down his face. He was in his cabin, and the clock on the wall read 3:34 a.m. "Damn it," he said, silent to the darkness. "They must have laced the fool with something." He tried for the rest of the night to sleep, but failed, finding his mind plagued by a strange and fantastic dream. The next morning when they arrived, Shuhei and Rei found themselves on the island where the school was, and after the boat left, they made their way to the front office. Outside the main building were several people, some looking to be professors and others looking like students. As Shuhei glanced about, trying to spot the admissions office, he felt a tug on his shirt and looked down to see a short girl looking up at him. "Hello there, name's Tara. I'm going to be your history teacher. Hope you're not another when it comes to this stuff." Shuhei knelt down and cocking his head to the side and saying, "Eh? What, you got brain, you little looking Jerry boy?" Shuhei chuckled, not believing what he was hearing. "You think that's funny, you no good Shuhei continued to laugh and said after catching his breath, "Hello there, my name's Shuhei Izumi. I'm 15 years old. 15's a really big number, huh?" he said in his most condescending voice, which brought a chuckle from Tara before another volley of insults came flying his way. Before it looked like Tara was about to start thrashing Shuhei, a tall man approached, put a hand on her shoulder and said, Quit it, Tara. The kid's gonna figure it out eventually. Come on, let's go get sloshed." He produced a flask, which Tara immediately took and downed a huge swig from. "Alright, come on, David." Shuhei sat there for several minutes, looking absolutely dumbfounded, muttering to himself, "Oh, I think I just flunked history," before Ray approached and said, "Hey, I found the... Are you okay? Anywho, I found the main office. Come on, let's go get our dorm rooms."